Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's Three Bands. Welcome back. As promised, these are going to be the OG Hemps. Now, what I'm going to talk about with the OG Hemps are original hemp versions, is what makes them original. Also, I want to talk about what I consider to be a vintage shoe, because there's really no true definition, but I'll just kind of share with you my perspective of it. And then I'll also share with you, how to check and see if you might have a pair of these original hemp shoes. They are a really, really special pair of shoes. But before I do, I want to give just a quick shout out and a quick mention to the new book from Jacques Chassin, written by Jason Coles, Soul to Soul. This is chock full of just stories about the sneaker industry and the legendary shoes that he created. I just want to grab one pair of shoes. If you notice, and if you look up the book, you're going to see a beautiful pair of white forums. And guess what I've got? Just to tease you, I've got a beautiful pair of white forums. Let me let the camera grab these. Not only are these a beautiful pair of white forums, but these are sales samples from 1999. And they just are an insane pair of shoes. So more to come on that, but just wanted to show you those really quick. So first, we're going to start off on what do I consider a vintage shoe for me. The first thing I look for in a vintage shoe is either going to be, if you can look down here, you see a blue box or a brown box. That's the first two things that I'm looking for. The next thing I look at is the label. The label on these shoes to see if you've got a vintage pair of shoes. And I'll hold this up to the camera so we can grab it. If it wants to. There it goes. You see how that is a blue label? And there it is. That's the second thing. So if you have a brown box and if you have that blue squarish label, to me, that's kind of what I consider vintage. Now, the vintage shoes for me from Adidas were made from around 2000, 2001 and previous to that. So just kind of wanted to share with that with you. Now, when I was looking for these shoes, I'll share with you a story, because it seems like a lot of you gravitate to stories, because that's what I do. I gravitate to stories. So I get some questions sometimes, how do you find these shoes? Well, I can tell you, when I buy a shoe, I never just hit click buy. Now, I may in rare cases just click buy if the shoe is so rare and I don't want to lose it. But after that, I always follow it up with the conversation. And I ask, who are you? Tell me a little bit about you. How did you get the shoes? At the very least, I get to know a pretty interesting person. But more importantly, I make these great connections. I get to hear the stories. And lo and behold, sometimes I'll buy just a rather not necessarily insignificant pair of shoes, but a really nice pair of shoes. And we'll develop a conversation and I'll go, well, you know what? I might have a couple more. And that's where these shoes came from. This gentleman, the story is he worked for Adidas for years and years and years. He accumulated all these shoes because Adidas just gave them to him, and he just stored them over all this time in a big locker, one of those lockers that you can rent by the month. As I bought one pair of shoes, we got to talking, and he said, I've got all these other pair of shoes if you may be interested. And he's, shot me some pictures. There was a lot of pair of shoes, and I noticed some really special ones in there. These Hemps were some of those, and some other ones in my collection as well. We're not talking about those today. And I put together, I was like, man, I want so many of these shoes. Can we start developing, some kind of way to trust each other? And I just put together small little deals. And over a period of time, not only did I gain just a wonderful contact, but I also ended up getting some beautiful shoes and got to share their stories. So we're going to jump into that, just kind of give you a quick insight on how I found some of these shoes. So we're going to start with these. I noticed these shoes. I reached out to Lurky because he was the one that knew the most about them, and he kind of informed me that they were a Japan release. Not only they were Japan release, but these samples are going to be a little bit different because these actually have a white bottom. Now, these Hemps are some of the first shoes to actually have that off tan bottom. The off tan bottom that I'm referring to is, the most, I guess, widely known and popular shoe was out in 2003 that had that kind of bone bottom, and that's going to be this shoe right here. I think we all know what this shoe is, right? These are the 2003 Bapes, and just an amazing silhouette. But kind of what I want to show you about these is just the bone bottom. Just a beautiful pair of shoes. But these samples didn't have those, and which is fine with me because it makes them a little bit even more unique. But so I'm just going to grab these green ones, and we're going to start here, let you take a look at the shoes, okay? So let's jump in here and let the camera grab them. All right, And there they are, OG Hemps. And these are, you know, one of my favorite pair of shoes are the Superstar 2s, and these are Superstar 2. Gorgeous, right? These are the green pair. These are going to be the brown pair. Beautiful. There they go. I want to get that right up in there so you can see it. And bring those around. And then the last pair, for me, this is the pair I typically end with the pair that I like the most, and it's these orange pair, these kind of off-white orange pair. I just dig them. I really do dig them. It's just something about it, you know. And you can see that's from 11/28/2000. You'll see it's Superstar. You see the style code and all that kind of cool stuff on there. And that's them. And then of course, just for good measure, the white bottoms. And that's this. These are the OG Hemps. Again, if you find these, you know, it's really nice to get the box. And if you have a pair in your collection and you're wondering, hey, are these the original ones that were, you know, only released in Japan? Just take a look at the tag and look for that blue tag. If you do, then, you know, say, hey, it's cool. If not, it doesn't matter. You know, one of my favorite pair of shoes in my collection that I have beat to crap and back are a pair of these that I think were released in like 2003, 2005. I really can't remember. But at any rate, I wanted to bring these out. I've already made the reel. I've already put up lots of pictures on these, but I just wanted to talk about it a little bit and share a little bit of information. A very limited amount of information, but this is what I know. I wanted to share it with you. But as always, this is 3 Bands, and collect what you love. And I'm out till next time. Peace.